Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining another session of the Chettinad School of Law's webinars. Thank you so much for taking your time off to be here. And today's session is titled How Legal Education Helps People During the Pandemic COVID-19. So before we proceed, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Joanna Esther Shalini. I am currently pursuing my first year of LLB honors at the Chettinad School of Law, and I will be a moderator for the session. It is such a pleasure to have you with us, ma'am, all the way from Indonesia. And thank you so much for taking time to be here with us. To briefly introduce ma'am, her name's Lenny Widi Mulyani. She engages and specializes in legal pro bono work. So she is currently the law teacher and the head of clinical legal education program in the Pasundan University, Indonesia. She has been running street law clinic at her campus since 2007. This clinic provides free legal education and legal literacy for the poor and marginalized to get an access to justice through interactive teaching methods. Ma'am has also been volunteering with many social works, and she now engages with 9 communities such as women inmates, high school students, people with disabilities, children with disabilities, juvenile delinquents, and former sex workers. And she provides all of them with legal education. We are so amazed by the work you do, ma'am, and we are so honored and happy to have you here with us amidst your busy schedule. So before we proceed with this session, I would like to quickly introduce Chettinad Academy of Research and Education, which we commonly call CARE, and the Chettinad School of Law. The Chettinad Group, with over 60 years of education, have been pioneers in providing a progressive learning environment across Tamil Nadu. They are currently responsible for over 12,000 students in 22 private, government-aided schools and colleges across various disciplines such as medicine, dentistry, engineering, law, physiotherapy, nursing, architecture, allied health sciences, and pharmaceutical sciences. To introduce the Chettinad School of Law, this School of Law is recognized by the BCI and approved by the UGC, and provides an environment that offers high quality education through various interactive and active learning methods, qualified and experienced faculty, and exposure through legal internships. So the School of Law is a member of the IUCN Academy of Environmental Law and the International Association of Law Schools. So with that being said, let's just dive right into the topic. So as we are all aware, the COVID-19 pandemic has literally taken the world by storm and by surprise. It has literally shaken the political, economic, and the social stratas of the world. So amidst this crisis, this is something that probably every law student or person delving into legal pro bono work and people who are just generally into the legal profession, they're probably just wondering, how can we contribute to the society at this point of time during this crisis? And there is just so much unrest, and with the case of the migrant workers, and just with the poverty line being so high. So this is something that probably everyone is wondering, and how they can use their profession in terms of rehabilitation of the society. So along this line, ma'am, can I ask you the first question?
Sure.
So the first question is, how is legal clinical education important in law schools?
Important to law school?
Yeah.
Law students?
Law schools and law students, ma'am.
Okay, so I guess that every law schools in this world must have the legal education program, because it's completely help not only for the students but also for the society. I mean, now especially the poor and marginalized, because they have limited access to justice, right? Rich people, they have access to hire lawyers, but this group of people, they facing difficulties. So law school provides law students, and then they become a lawyer someday. And for the society itself, so they feel no hesitate to come and then to share their problems with us. But for the law student itself, so it builds the empathy. That's really, really, really important. So once you graduate for law school, you are not only thinking about money. You are not only thinking about how I gain, how do I live my life with all this wealth and everything, but you have to have the empathy. Like we're saying, like maybe we just like a doctor. We doctor helps patient. We as a law teachers and law students, we do also help people by helping them access to justice. And that's really important how legal education must be given to the society, especially the poor and marginalized. Yeah.
Along these lines, ma'am, once clinical education is something that is, and all these skill sets are imparted to the students, ma'am, how can a law student contribute during this pandemic? So what can a law student do in order to use these skill sets?
Well, law students right now, so you're the millennial, like you know everything, especially with relative to the internet and things like that. We can use those tools. Not we don't have to meet them personally face to face, but we can use these tools like Zoom or Google Meet and anything. As long as you are be creative, things are possible right now. The technology are very providable, and then you, as long as you can have these ideas and then what kind of, but make sure you have to choose who is your object and your subject is, because once you targeted your audience, then you know what kind of their needs. But first of all, you need to do the assessment, right? Because like a doctor, you cannot give the medicine for the wrong person. So if you want to give the free legal education and free legal consultation, make sure that you know the problems are, and then we can find the solutions. And the students in our school, they usually go to the society like directly, but then right now we use the online service and then the hotline service, and also the web from our faculty, so the people can contact us for free. And even though that they cannot see us, I mean, we have link. So this is the thing that I want to explain further about the link, how important we have link in every level of the society.
Thank you, ma'am. So the next question is, what are the legal implications on a legal clinical center during such a pandemic, ma'am?
Can you repeat one more time, please?
What are the legal implications on a legal clinical center during such a pandemic?
Legal implications, like, well, there's so many. You mean legal implications like the problems that we face during the pandemic?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And how that prevents us from acting.
Okay, so we there's a two point of view. The first point of view is for the criminals itself. Right now, I don't know in India, but in Indonesia, there are 4 major crimes during the pandemics. The first one is the street crimes, and the second one is domestic violence you're raising, and the third one is the cyber crime, and the fourth one is corruption. But another point of view, this pandemic hit everybody. We are all victims of this pandemic. Yeah, but we can choose whether we survive or we giving up. I guess giving up is not in our dictionary. But then you, I, and audience here, we have the tools, we have the education, because like Nelson Mandela said, the education is a tool to get the better life. So we need to think more. We need to think further. Yeah, these people who did the crimes and these people who become the victims, they are clueless. They are hunger. They don't know what to do. I mean, we cannot blame them 100%. Probably we are forgetting them. Yeah, those four criminals are arising in Indonesia right now, sadly. But that's the reality. The street crimes, it's petty crimes. I mean, like they stealing something. Not the amount of money is not that much, but one of the reasons that's because they're hungry. and then they need to feed their family. And then corruption, there's so many help from other institutions or from the government itself. But corruption is corruptions. I mean, like, they're greedy. They're using the money, right? And then the domestic violence. I mean, like, I've been quarantined for maybe like 3 months, yeah. And then it's not easy. I mean, you meet your spouse, you meet your kids like every single day, and then it will things are not sometimes things are not getting better. Yeah, people get stressed easily. And then the last one is cybercrime. There's so many hoax, so many lies and explained through the internet. So I feel so concerned about the situations in Indonesia right now, especially for the police officers. The first thing they need to guard to the people to stay at home, but then the next thing is they also need to to guard other people not to do the crimes. Yeah.
Ma'am, so all of these problems seem so out of line and so vast. How can we at a student level, how can we contribute to tackling such problems during the pandemic?
I mean, it's like if you join with legal aids in your campus, you can use that line, and then especially in my campus, we have like 2 clinics. The first clinic is street law clinic, and the second one is the legal aid clinic. So the legal aid clinic provide not only the free consultations, but also they can represent the client in front of the court. But for the street law clinic, we cannot represent the client. We refer the case to the legal aid clinic. So you can use, as the law students, you can use all of your energy, all of your thoughts to help these people. I mean, you can open yourself in any opportunities, right? So if we're saying that your neighbors, you're not thinking about something very far, but let's see your neighbors. Is your neighbors need your help? And right now, I think it's not only the legal implication, but also the social implications, right? And right now I am engaging with Bandung Legal Aid, not only giving the legal consultation, but also food sufficiency. That's the things that you can do. I mean, if you come from the middle to up family, let's do something for the one who really needs the food. Let's go out, and even go out not that far, even in your neighborhood. Let's see if is my neighbor needs food, or do they hungry, and anything. So there's a lot of things that you can do during this pandemic and this quarantine. And also keep studying, keep learning, keep reading, and then joining with this kind of webinar. It will make your brain fresh, and then you can adding more from your teachers, but also from other teachers outside the country. And that's really important to expand your knowledge.
Ma'am, so in terms of the work that you do, ma'am, can you explain in detail what it is that you do and how you tackle the problems that arise when you go approach other people?
Okay, so our clinic is concentrating on women and children, right? But why women and children? Because they are a group of people who are really vulnerable. And then they tend to be the victims. I'm not saying that I'm gender equality, unequality. No, not saying like that. But let's see the real thing. Yeah, the women and children always be the victims, and we choose the target. The target must be poor and marginalized. Why? Because they have limited to get an access to justice, right? And then they don't even know that these certain rules exist. All they know is like, my neighbor called the police and I've been caught and I don't know my rights. And that's the things that we need to do. We help these people to get, at least they know their legal rights. At least when the police come to their place, try to caught them, they know what should they do. I mean, like, am I done something wrong? What is your warrants or anything? And like you say before, that we've been engaging in more than 9 communities since 2007. Many kind of communities, the poor and marginalized communities, and some of them are they talk directly to me, and some of them through the link. For example, we already went to one society, and then another society asked me and the students, can you go please to go to another society because they also need the legal knowledge. And that's the things that we do since 2007. And in 2007, I am only dealing with 15 students. Now the 4 of us, the teachers, the CLE teachers, dealing with 300 students, because now it becomes the mandatory. So this coming semester, they need to be part of this program, and they need to make a report to me and other teachers, and they need to go to jump into community, dive in, and then talk with them, and then give the legal education sessions, and then they give back the report to me. So it's really important for them to do that, because you, Joanne, as a student, I mean, like you, if you're staying in the class the whole time, it's a little bit boring, right? So you need like go out and see the people, real people with real situation, real client. Then you feel like, okay, I need to do something, right? In clinical legal education, there's 3 steps. The first thing, the I see step. Yeah, I see, I feel, and I learn. I see, okay, I see there's a problem within the society. Okay, now I feel, after I see, I have to do something. Now I feel empathy, not sympathy. Sympathy is easy, but empathy is not easy. I mean, yes, you can cry with them, but what is the solution after you're crying? Yeah, so you need to give them a tools to survive. What is the tools? The knowledge, the skills, and the value. Those are the tools that you can do to give to society. And after that, I learned something. I learned to be more respect. I learned that, okay, I have to feel gratitude. That's really important element of this legal education program, because once you help people, but then you don't feel anything valuable, then you get nothing. You have to feel the empathy. So my reaction was when my student came to me and said, ma'am, can we do the legal education sessions again? That's like a word for me. That's because legal education is really addicted. Once you help people and then they can survive, it makes you happy. And it makes you feel like, okay, I feel useful and I want to do something more and more to help the society. And it is also not easy for I also facing some kind of characteristic of students, like spoiled one. The spoiled students cannot survive in this program, because we're not talking about big cities, yeah, big cities, but only in big cities, but like in the small alley and remote areas, and the place that people are not really concerned about it, but they do exist. Yeah.
Ma'am, so right now in like a lot of institutions, they give so much importance to what is in the book. So all they care about is, how much a student scores, how much she's able to learn and, produce during the exam. So what are the ways, or what can institutions do to inculcate this practical knowledge among the students in order that they impart it to society of people who do not have them?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not really textbook person. I need my students to have this experience, the field experience, and I think that's the things that we can do and we must do. When you read something, you forget things, right? You will forget easily because reading is one-way communication. But when you do the reading part and then you do the discussion part and then demonstration and teaching others, then you can gain 90% of your knowledge. So teaching others are really, really important, not only for the legal education, the clinical legal education subject, but also in other subject. And by teaching other, actually you teach yourself. Yeah, and then people will easily to remember by teaching, because when like right now, before I join before I say yes to Melanie, I learn I need to read things, I need to look at things, because I don't want to give the wrong answer to these people, right? So now legal for the legal terms and law school, we cannot just thinking or reading only one part of the sections of the written law, but we need to see the society, their living law, their real problems. Yeah, because it's easier for us to read something on the book, on the chapter, but when you jump into the community, things are much better if you go to the community, because you see the real people and you see the real client, and then it's kind of like challenge yourself. What am I gonna do? I mean, like, I read books, but the books can really help me, but how can I be useful to these people, to this society? Yeah, I guess I thought it will be all. I mean, I hope you get the point, right? So sorry.
Ma'am, so along the lines of what you just said, I think there needs to be a balance between what we learn from the books and what we do practically as well. So,
Exactly.
what are the ways that you use to balance these two aspects?
Okay, for the clinical legal education itself, for the legal education, we have like two part of the legal education in our school. The first one as the mandatory subject for 2 credits, and the second one as the extracurricular. And the first thing first is before the students go jump into the community, we ask them, we teach them about how to choose the topic, how to choose the target, and then how to develop the lesson plan. It's really, really important, because do not think that teaching community is easy. It's not easy, and it's never easy, because we are in academician, right? And then we are really tends to use a very high level of words. But when you come to the community, they don't understand about that. So if you use the high level of your language, it will be not useful, because they don't get it. So the challenge is how to simplify these difficult terms and legal terms, and that's really important. And especially for this legal education as the mandatory for 2 credits, for the first couple of weeks we teach about what is the definition of legal aids, and why it's important, and who is the target, and what is the legal education, how to develop the lesson plan, and how to develop the teaching methodologies. It must be interactive. It's got to be interactive, because if it's not interactive, people are tend to be bored, and then they will avoiding the session, right? So for the couple of weeks, and then for the mid test, we ask the students to develop their own lesson plan. So the whole lesson plan before they go to the community, and then we check the lesson plan. That's the topics are correct. The topic must be simple, and cannot so general. For example, the topic is about domestic violence. Domestic violence itself, there are types of violence. So you have to choose what kind of violence that you want to teach. And then the subject in domestic violence is also vary. Are you going to talk about to the wife, to the husband, to the children, or to the one who work with their household area? Yeah. And then after the topic, also choose the target. Who is the target? You cannot teach a group of people who have Ferrari car, like rich people. No, you have to choose these people who, like I said, who get the limited access to get an access to justice. housewife, for example. People think that housewife, they do exist. I mean, they also become the victims of domestic violence. And I don't know in India, but in Indonesia, since 2007 that I ran the clinic, there are a lot of housewives. They cannot identify the violence. They think if the husband beat them, they said, I'm a bad wife. This is the consequences. I mean, like, there is no such term called consequences as a wife. No. I mean, like, when your husband loves you, he never hit you. He never says something nasty with you. So those are the things that we teach to our society. And after that, you can use any kinds of teaching methodologies to support your topic. Yeah, and it's really, really important. Whether you can use the, for example, the role play or brainstorming, critical thinking, or discussions and pictures and everything. Society loves pictures, so use pictures a lot, because sometimes this group of people, they are illiterate. They don't know how to read. So we use a lot of pictures. It's the pictures that represented their feelings, that easier for them to absorb our material. And those things you need to write down in your lesson plan. Yeah. After the mid-test, so you have to choose 3 communities or 1 communities with 3 legal education session 3 times. So they usually choosing the one that we just give them the clue, and then they will go to the field. And for 3 times street law session or legal education session, they will go back to the teacher and make the report. The report, we call it the reflective journal. So for the final exam, we are not asking them to writing an essay, but we're asking them, after you join with this session, what things that you get from the society? Do you feel better as a person or not? The reflective journal. So they can reflect their emotion, they can reflect their feelings, that before I join with this session, I have one of the students, I still remember what he's saying. The students also joined with this program, with this webinar. He said, like, ma'am, before I join with this program, I don't know how to get into the society, for example, the children with disabilities. I don't know their problems, and I don't know the problems what the high school students face, and I don't know the problems what the former sex worker, because there's impossible for me to get the connection with a former sex worker. But after I joined with this program, now I know that these people exist, and I know that these people need my help. So it's ring the bell for him. And he's one of the students who really, really enjoy every time we have the legal education sessions. And even though that we have break for, sometimes things are a little bit busy at school, so the students always come to me and say, can we do a street law again? And that's like an award to me. Yeah.
That's nice, ma'am. Thank you so much for your valuable inputs, ma'am. That brings us to the end of this webinar. Thank you so much for highlighting all the ways through which a law student can be of help during this crisis, ma'am, because ultimately we all need to look out for each other, and regardless of what our social standing is. Thank you so much for taking time off your schedule to be here with us, ma'am. I'm sure everyone tuned in has learned a lot from this session. I mean, I personally, I've gained so much insight on this topic. Thank you so much, ma'am. And that brings us to an end to this session. Thank you again to everyone who has tuned in. Do tune into our future webinar sessions. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy.